He's been picked out. Sops down to his ankle. Picks out Stansfield. That's the hat-trick. And that's what dreams are made of.
Hello everybody and welcome to Park Life, the official Exeter City podcast. Results are on the up with a draw against Lincoln and a fantastic display against Premier League hopefuls Middlesbrough in the week. Up next, we go from one cup to the other as City host Wigan Athletic at the Park on Saturday. I've got some brilliant guests for you this week and I know you will love them. Let's dive straight into it. Coming up in today's show, City goalkeeper Viljami Sinisalo joins me to talk about his newfound love for Exeter City and what it feels like to play in goal for your country. Legendary Grecian winger and iconic goalscorer Lee Holmes dials in from across the pond to tell me about what was going through his mind when he scored that goal against Liverpool, and also his ambitions as he continues his coaching career, with a little hint that he might be keen on a return to SJP. Finally, because you all loved him so much last time, Wigan fan Barry Worthington from the Progress with Unity podcast talks to me about how he thinks the tie will go on Saturday when the two sides faced each other in the FA Cup. First up then, I'm joined by City goalkeeper Viljami Sinisalo after a great performance against Championship high flyers Middlesbrough. Vil, welcome to Park Life. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you'll be disappointed about getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Middlesbrough this week, but you must be incredibly proud of the team's performance and the journey that you went on to get there.
Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me, obviously. Middlesbrough are a very good side. You could probably tell that yesterday. They made a few changes, didn't they? But they're still a very good side, which, in my opinion, are probably going to be challenging to get promotion to the Premier League. So we definitely done ourselves proud. Fans definitely done themselves proud. That's definitely the best atmosphere I've ever been involved in, and I reckon I've had a few decent ones, but that was up there. It was a special night, and obviously a shame that we couldn't quite get over the line, but at the end of the day, the gaffer said it after the game yesterday as well. I think we lost to the better team, and sometimes you got to hold your hand up and say you lost to the better side. But yeah, we gave it all.
Yeah, it was a special night, and I think the fans fueled that in many ways. And you put in an excellent performance. I think that's got to be said. What was it fueled by? Was it that adrenaline, the excitement created by the fans, by the occasion? What was the feeling as you walked out the tunnel on Tuesday night?
Yeah, maybe it was that. It was brilliant. Honestly, to be associated with that was brilliant. You walked out the pitch, it's raining. It was a real cup tie feel to it, wasn't it? So you see all the banners, you see what the fans had put together for us. It was brilliant, and you don't want to let the fans down, do you? That's what we felt. That's what I felt, and I'm sure most of the lads, and I think every single one of them, felt the same. And like I said, we did our best. Little bit short on the night, and like I said, lost to a better side who are going to do very well in the division above us. And we need to build on that performance and go and look to get a big win on Saturday, and then build on that in the league.
You always look confident, it's got to be said, but I think it looked like the whole team was confident going into that one. What did the manager say to instill that belief?
Well, it's what was kind of said. It was courage. We've basically got nothing to lose here. We've got a chance to do something the club's never done before. That was a big thing in the change room before. We want to be a part of that team that does it for the first time and gets to that quarter final. So that was a big motivation. Obviously, we've had a bit of a tough run. Maybe people's confidence are sometimes affected by that. And then I didn't feel necessarily that myself, and I probably try and lift a few others and try and get their confidence up in the way I play and the way I'm kind of encouraging them. But yeah, courage was the main, and bravery were the main two things that was mentioned before the game. And I thought we done ourselves proud. Like I previously said, we've done ourselves really, really proud. And like I said, the fans did as well, and showed the club in great light. So we're really thankful of that.
But now the League Cup journey is over. Do you look back at that victory in the previous round against Luton Town as one of the key highlights of your young career so far?
100%. I'm sure come end of my career, I'll still remember that. It's a Premier League side. We've beaten at home. It was a special night, probably the best night of my footballing career so far. Obviously, I'm 22, and hopefully I'll have many more of them. But it's definitely something I'll remember for the rest of my life. The feeling of winning and beating a team 2 divisions above you. You don't normally get many of them in your footballing career. You're lucky if you get one. So you've got to cherish it. And I'm sure we'll all remember that cup run. But it's gone now. We've got to go again. We've got to try and get another cup run on starting Saturday, and hopefully we can do something special in that competition, because everyone knows what the FA Cup means to everyone. So we're looking to do that on Saturday.
Yeah, well, you certainly deserved it. It's got to be said. I think I speak for every Exeter City supporter when I call you a bit of a fan favourite. I spoke to the Finnish journalist, Eetu Akola, who I know you know very well, and he was telling me how you feel really appreciated at Exeter City and that you feel really valued. What is it about Exeter City that's made you feel that way?
Well, it was from the moment I walked in the door. I felt really loved. I felt like I was really wanted at the football club, and I think that for me, that probably gets the best out of me on the pitch as well. That's massively down to the manager. The manager trusts me. The belief he's installed in me from day one, as I walked in the building during pre-season, is something I've not necessarily experienced before, and definitely has got the best out of me. In terms of being a fan favourite, I try my best. I must have said in my first interview when I signed for the club that I'm a passionate player, and I'll always do my best for the club, whatever time it is in the morning or whatever. Regarding obviously these early starts that we've had earlier on in the season, during pre-season and a couple of weeks ago. But I've loved it. I've enjoyed the time at Exeter the most I've ever enjoyed my football in my short career so far, and I hope it continues. I'm sure it will. So I'm always doing my best, and I'll try and always do more.
Yeah, well, I think that's blatantly clear. Eetu also told me that whilst you were away on international duty with Finland, you put the Exeter game on in the gym for the whole Finnish squad to watch. It almost feels like you're a fan yourself.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. It kind of happens when you're playing for a club, and obviously, I feel like I've built a connection where I've kind of fell in love with the club. I fell in love with everything around the club. I love the area. I love where it is. I love going into work or training. Wouldn't really call it work, but I love going in every morning. And like I said before, this time of my career, I'll look back at the end of my career and probably will be saying one of the best times of my career in terms of the enjoyment I've had. But yeah, we did, in terms of that gym thing with Finland, I did put the game on, and they had the full squad, including staff, watching that game against Leyton Orient early on in the season. But I mean, I love the club. I want the club to do well, and eventually, when at the end of the season I do go back to Villa, I'll always be looking out for the results, and I'm sure you'll probably see me at SJP coming to watch a few games as well. But yeah.
Well, you'll be more than welcome. Talk to me a little bit more about Finland then. You played for the national side at youth level, called up to the senior side for the first time in 2022, then received your first cap in 2023. Just talk to me about what it feels like to walk out at your national stadium, represent your country. It must be amazing.
It is, yeah. It's something you dream about when you're a bit younger. You watch players on TV when you're the age of anywhere from 7 to 14, 15. You watch these players go out and do the country proud, and you dream of them moments that one day you'll be one of them and walking out of the stadium and have people chanting your name and singing the national anthem in front of a sold out Olympic stadium. But I hope I'll get that eventually in my career. I back myself to get that one day, but obviously I've got to work hard to get there. But yeah, I've obviously gone through the youth levels, played 50 odd times for all the youth teams from under 15s to under 21s, and only still got one cap for Finland, and hopefully many more. And yeah, like I said, I've got to do well at club level to be selected first of all. So.
You've got pretty good competition, it must be said, at Finland. Hiradeski, obviously at Bayer Leverkusen, one of the world's best goalkeepers. I think that's probably fair to say, and somebody who you must have learned a lot from, even in your short time working with him.
Yeah, he's one of them. He's played for Finland for 10 years now. I've grown up watching him. when I was 12. I've grown up gone to these meet and greets where he's signed my football and my football boots and stuff like that. So for me to be there sitting in the changing room next to him is brilliant. You don't realise it when you're in the moment, no, but if you start speaking about it, then maybe you kind of realise that, oh, this has happened, and you kind of make the most of it. But yeah, he's a quality goalkeeper. Like in my opinion, like you just said, one of the better goalkeepers in the world, and something I'll definitely learn a lot from. So yeah, it's great to be in a team with him.
But you're after his number 1 shirt, I'm sure.
Yeah, eventually that's the plan. Not to sound horrible, but ideally, I mean, I'm 22. Lucas is 34 now. Eventually, if we're being honest, he'll be Finland's number 1 as long as he decides to play football. He's been so good for the country, and as long as he plays for the national team, he'll always play. In terms of who the next number 1 is, I would like to think that I would possibly have a chance in a couple of years. And like I said, I've got to do things right at club level, play at a high enough level, and do well at that level to have a chance. So I'm working towards that, and that's the ultimate goal for me. And there's 2 goals in my footballing in football for me, which are playing in the Premier League and then being Finland's number 1. So fingers crossed, I'll do my best to get there.
I'm sure you'll make it. I'm sure you will. But let's focus a little bit closer to home now. Up next for City, Wigan Athletic in the FA Cup on Saturday. It's a competition you've played in before with Burton. The last 2 results have been much more positive for City. Do you come into this one, a cup game, another cup game, with a bit more confidence and positivity because of those 2 results?
Yeah, I thought Lincoln was massive. I thought we did okay second half against Lincoln. First half was a bit nervy, I thought. They obviously got the early goal, which we've been a bit guilty of doing this season, especially lately. But second half, I thought we were excellent, and the gaffer said that as well. So that definitely instilled a bit of belief again. Last night, I thought we played really well, like we've already touched on. So I reckon we'll go in with a lot of confidence. We want to be honest, we want to get one over them on what happened in the league. They had 1 shot, they scored 2, and we had 30 odd and didn't score a goal. But definitely want to get 1 over on them and beat them and advance in the cup.
Yeah, and good form breeds that confidence. So win on Saturday, and then hopefully take that form into the league as well. Absolutely,
win on Saturday, take it to Fleetwood, and then go again after the international break, I suppose.
Yeah, and you'll be away with Finland on that, of course. So good luck with that, and I'm sure that there's plenty to look forward to. Vil, you've been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me on Park Life.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Pleasure.
Oh, have I been looking forward to this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the living legend that is Lee Holmes. It's FA Cup week for the Grecians as they host Wigan Athletic at St James Park. So who better to speak to than a man who knows a thing or two about scoring against an FA Cup winning side? Lee Holmes, welcome to Park Life. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Really nice to be here. Thank you for the invite, Tom.
No worries at all. I mentioned it just then, but I think many City fans look at your goal against Liverpool, direct from a corner kick, of course. They look at that goal as one of the greatest Exeter City goals in the past 10 years, maybe even longer. Do you still think about that goal and relive it in your head?
100%. It was a goal. It was obviously the uniqueness of the goal. The playing against Liverpool, such a massive worldwide club. It reached far further than I expected in terms of the world and Instagram and social media is a small place now. So I was getting comments from everywhere. So now obviously doing a lot more coaching and doing a lot more further afield. It's obviously what everyone sees first when they look me up on the internet, and so I get to talk about it a lot, which is nice.
I know it was a long time ago, but sort of talk me through the goal, because it was a corner kick just before halftime, just before the halftime whistle blew, if I remember rightly. Were you thinking about shooting, or was it a cross? Adam Bogdan in goal? What was the sort of thought process?
And that's a question that's been asked a lot. And you say it's a long time ago. It feels like it was yesterday for me. So no, I'll be brutally honest with you. we were leading up. Liverpool were struggling with their keepers at the time, and there wasn't anybody that was really holding the number one slot down. And I can remember the build up to the game and the training that we did. And Tiz literally said to me, I want you to aim like you're going to hit the back post, because I want it to be right under the keeper's nose. And I want to cause as much confusion and give the keepers as much of a problem as possible. So was I meaning to score? Yes. Did I think I was going to score? Absolutely not. Was I surprised? A little bit. So I was aiming for the back post, and I was aiming to hit the back post. It flying in the goal was probably not what I was expecting, but a special moment, albeit.
I don't think anybody was expecting us to lead once in that game, but of course your goal was the time that we struck twice and led twice in that game. The first goal coming through Tom Nichols. And just how crazy of a moment was that? Obviously, leading for the first time, once that goal was cancelled out, you couldn't have thought, really, that you were going to lead again in that game.
No, I think we knew that there'd be a massive opportunity for us. We knew that they were going to play a little bit of a weakened side. So we knew that coming down to St James's Park was going to be difficult for them and their younger players. I know they had a few experienced players in, but we felt that it was going to be a really, really good opportunity. I felt in the game really confident. If I'm being honest, I thought we were deserved going in at halftime as leaders, and really, really disappointed to concede the really sort of, I think the goal was on, I believe, sort of 80-odd minutes for them to score the second goal. So I felt confident in the game. I felt like we were sort of holding our own, or if not on top, and to be leading. I'm not. I say this very flippantly. It wasn't a shock when we scored. Obviously, it was a different feeling at St James's Park. So it was packed house. There was a lot building up to the game. Everyone was excited, so you knew that it was a different game. But it didn't shock me that we went in the lead. But you were just hoping that we could have held on, because I think we all knew that going back to Anfield was going to be a very, very difficult ask for us. They were going to change this team. Obviously, Anfield's a different place. So we felt that we probably missed an opportunity.
Was there that confidence then from the whole side going into that game then? You make it sound like you really did think you had a chance.
100% we felt we had a chance. The build-up going into it, same as I say, I think we understood that there was going to be changes in their team. And we all know at whatever level you've played, when there's disrupt in a team, you know that there's going to be an opportunity, and it could go either way. And so we 100% believe that there was an opportunity to win. And same as I say, I think when we let that slip out of his hands and it went to 2-2 and we drew the game, going back to Anfield was going to be a totally different animal, which it was. But nonetheless, it was a brilliant experience. Great. Probably, I always look back on my City time and had a lot of special memories there. But I would say that and Carlisle game in the playoffs, when we scored last minute, they were the two games I played where I couldn't think of a better atmosphere than them two games. You don't play under the TV lights too often, when it's in level League Two. But you knew that there was a special occasion. The press was in the week before. They were building the box for, I think it was Gary Lineker and I believe Alan Shearer, maybe Ian Wright as well.
Yeah, all three.
So you knew that there was something special that was going on to the build up to the game, and also when the game was going on. The atmosphere was outstanding. There was banners that was flying around that I can still vividly remember in my mind. And same as I say, we knew that because of that, it sparks a little bit more inside you. There's no question. And we knew we all had to be at our best, and they had to be a lot less than their best for us to have a chance. And same as I say, we believe that could be a possibility. And yeah, disappointed that probably we didn't come. But having said that, with every opportunity, the club get a really, really great replay at Anfield. The revenue that brings in for a team like Exeter is obviously fantastic, and gives them a real impetus to go and do what they've done now in the future, which is all credit to the people behind the club. So same as I say, disappointing as a player that we didn't get over the line, but there's so many good things that came through from that game.
Miracles do happen though, and of course we did manage to get that draw to take us to Anfield. I suppose you could compare it to a game from this season when City beat Luton Town in the third round of the Carabao Cup. I suppose that's the great thing about these cup competitions. It does give you the opportunity to do something heroic.
Something special. There's nothing more special than a night game and beating a real giant, as Exeter have done again, and really feeling that with the whole community. And I think that's great for a club like Exeter to feel like you're playing and you're competing with the big boys, and then having an opportunity. You look at it and you probably I seen the draw come out a few weeks ago, and you're looking at it thinking, do you know what? There's a possibility against Middlesbrough, and you're thinking, okay, I think everyone gets that dreaming thought in their mind that what if we do beat Middlesbrough? What if we do get Man City in the next round? What if we do get Man United? So I think that's what the cup competition does for you, and that's why it's so special.
Yeah, well, for sure. You speak about Exeter quite highly, it must be said. Obviously, a few years since you last played for the club and living stateside now. But do you still follow Exeter City's results and how we're getting on, even 3 years after you left the club?
Yeah, all the time. I think naturally as a footballer, you always look at the previous clubs you've played for, and probably the ones that have had a significant impact in your life. I always look for Derby, Southampton, and Exeter as the other one that really are the ones that spring out to me, and I always hope for good results. I've still got players that I played with at the club. Sweens is obviously buzzing of how well he's been doing and done for the last I don't know, 7-8 years. What an unbelievable servant for the club he's been and still to be. So obviously for them people that I had a really close connection with when I was playing, so pleased and proud of the job that they've done. And when I think it was a couple of years ago when they got promoted to League One, I couldn't have been more happy for MJ to be able to lift the trophy, captain the club to the next level. So things like that were the reason why I had such a close call on the club, and probably why my passion on and off the field is so high for Exeter City.
Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now then. Since you've retired, you've been doing a lot of coaching over in America. How are you finding life across the pond? I'm sure a lot of City fans will be interested to know.
So to finish with Exeter, I retired. Obviously, had a little bit of time away from the game. Obviously, was doing my badges and had an opportunity during COVID to work for a company called PSC over in the States that was taking players to Europe on tour. I had an opportunity to do that. Really enjoyed it, and then got an opportunity to come over here and work with players on a daily basis, and also try and find players that might be looking for the opportunity to go pro, that may not have gone through the normal routes that we all think of. So trying to unearth some gems and give them opportunity where there perhaps isn't. So absolutely loving what I do, loving life. I think the one thing I've always been passionate about is trying to help the next generation, whether that be within football or just generally. So very blessed. God's provided for us in unbelievable ways, and so grateful for that. And same as I say, loving being able to work with American players and their passion for the game. And I think obviously over the next few years it's going to be even more so, because obviously the World Cup comes to America, so naturally that brings its own impetus and excitement between everybody. So I think it's a really good time to be over here. Obviously you'd have seen the news with Messi coming over, and it obviously brings its own, excitement, and everyone now knows about what they call soccer. We call football, but yeah, everyone is excited about it.
For sure. You're not the first player from that sort of era to make their way into coaching. David Noble, head coach of St Albans City, Robbie Simpson, manager of Chelmsford Town, Ryan Harley, assistant manager at Notts County, Jamie McAllister, worked at Bristol City, Sunderland, Hibernian, Nicky Law, he's over with you in America. What do you think that says about the group that you had and the players that you played with during your time at Exeter City?
I speak honestly with you right now. I had no visions, and my wife will back me up on this, no visions to stay in football at all. As soon as I'd done, I'd given an awful lot to the game from a very, very early age, obviously making my debut very, very young. So probably give more years than most, but and never really envisaged myself staying in. Tiz was the only manager that I ever worked with that really put a passion inside of me to carry on coaching. And I think that's what Tiz was great at. He was great at finding human beings that was passionate about something, whether that be anything, football, coaching, and trying to ignite that inside you. And he certainly did it with me. Tiz had a brilliant moral code, and you was able to, rightly or wrongly, you would trust him. And sometimes he'll agree with this, that I didn't always agree with his decisions, but I respected his decisions, and I stood by him for that, and trusted what he was saying to me. So I think probably, I don't know, I can't speak for the other guys, and I know Danny Butterfield's in there as well, because I know Danny's had a great career as coaching and was with Tiz for most of his journey. But I think that's what Tiz does for you. He ignites something inside of you that you may not knew was even there. And that's what I would say for myself. And then obviously you put your own spin on that. Certainly you have to grow and be the best version of yourself.
And what have you learned from Tiz then? And was he one of the more influential managers in terms of the sort of philosophy that he brings?
For me, Tiz was just an unbelievably great guy. First and foremost, really knew what he wanted on the pitch, but he had a few great mantras that stuck with me in my head, and he was able to bring in players at the right time that all believed in the same thing, and I try and do that now with players that I work with, but I think. I can't put my finger on it, but same as I say, Tiz would leave me out in games sometimes, and I would be fuming. But I would respect him. He left me out, and this always springs to my mind. He left me out, and it was a big game. I think it was against Plymouth. It was a massive game. It was Plymouth away, but he said, "Lee, you're going to play on Tuesday. You won't play on Saturday, but you're going to play on Tuesday." And I was fuming. And any manager I'd worked with, if you played well on a Saturday, you wasn't always guaranteed to play on the Tuesday, because obviously you wouldn't change a winning team. But Tiz was a little different like that, because he'd already planned for what was going to happen Saturday and what was going to happen Tuesday, and that was. And come Tuesday, we beat Plymouth on the Saturday 2-0, and I thought there's not a chance I'm going to be playing on Tuesday. I think it was Mansfield away, because we just had an unbelievable performance against Plymouth, beat them, local rivals, blah, blah, blah. Tuesday comes to it, I'm playing. Tiz has put me in. And they're the things that you go, that holds big value for me, because he said something, he's gone through with it, and now I can trust what comes out of his mouth. I don't agree with it. I didn't agree with him leaving me out. I thought we could have won 3-4-0 if I'd have played against Plymouth. But I respected him. I respected his decision, and I was willing to do whatever it takes to get back into the team. And yeah, I think that was the biggest thing that Tiz brought to me as a person. And he would the way that he interacted with players would be no different to the way that he reacted with staff at the training ground, whether that be the kit lady, whether it be one of the volunteers doing food. He would interact with everybody with the same care and diligence that he would with anybody else. And I think that was the person that I liked and I gravitated to. You know, he would ask about family, he would ask about, So I think that then builds a real close bond. And he was like that with everybody. And I think everyone would, I can't speak for everybody, but I felt I was his favourite. And I'm sure other players would say, well, no, I was his favourite, because that was the care that he went to. Yeah, but the club's done unbelievably well, whether that be with Tiz at the Realm or whether it be with somebody else at the Realm. And that doesn't just goes to show that the manager is the mainstay. It's more of a philosophy that's been built at the club, that they're non-negotiables that they stand to, and their values that make the club such an amazing place to be.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Oh, I think that's very clear, it must be said. You've obviously worked under loads of great managers across your career, Tiz being one of those. But obviously you've now gone into coaching. What's the ambition? Is it to come back to England to coach in men's football, maybe a move into management eventually, return to Exeter City perhaps? What's the ambition?
It's a very good question. I wake up days where I think I'd love to be the manager of Exeter City. I have days where I think I want to be the best manager, coach I can be, and I want to coach at the highest level. And I want to dream big. So that would be the Premier League. And then there's days that I absolutely love going to watch my little boy play on a Saturday and a Sunday. And he plays American football now, tackle, which he's moved to the dark side a little bit. But I love the fact that I can do that, and I can spend as much time with the family as possible. So it's a really difficult one because, same as you say, when you're in and immersed in that level of football at the top level, you know what is needed and you know what the sacrifices have to be. And as much as sometimes I really want to challenge myself and be the absolute best I can be in terms of, and I believe that I can be, it's times where I adore spending time with my little girl, and I love spending time with Freddie and my wife, and that on our weekends was just for 17 years just a non-negotiable. So it's a tough question, and like I've just give you a very, very indifferent answer. So I can't tell you right now, but what I can tell you is that I'm doing my utmost to become the best I can be, and that's on the grass, coaching, the environment I'm putting myself in, and also trying to give as much back to the players that are trying to make careers for themselves. So recruiting, trying to advise, mentor, so that they can be their best version. So yeah, I can't say that that's definitely the route I want to go down, but I want to give as much that I've taken from the game and give that back to as many people that I can possibly do and help them in their journey.
Amazing. Well, I mean, Lee, I'm sure you're going to make it. Of course you will. You speak brilliantly. That's pretty much all we got time for, but thank you so much for joining us. You've been an absolute gent. And last, but by no means least, friend of the pod, Barry Worthington joins me to preview the game on Saturday and chat all things Wigan Athletic. Barry, welcome to Park Life. Thanks for joining us. This is your second time on the pod because it's the second time Exeter City are playing the Latics at SJP this season. Last time, it was Wigan who got the better of the Grecians. What do you think your team got right that day?
We got the win right, didn't we? I mean, I think we were both two clubs who needed to pull something out of the game. Fortunately for us, we did, and I have to admit it, against the run of play. I mean, I thought you looked very, very good, to be honest. And the only trouble you had was scoring a goal. But we had two good chances and we took them, and I think that was the difference. And it sort of kicked us on a little bit because following up on your game on the Saturday, we had Oxford at home on the Tuesday, and everybody knows how Oxford are playing, up at the top of the table, and we absolutely destroyed them. And it finished 2-0, but it could have finished 3 or 4-0, And I think we did to Oxford what you did to us, but we scored goals on the night as well. So it gave us a little bit of confidence, that game. And then we followed that up the following Saturday with a win against Shrewsbury. So that was very good, yeah.
And against Exeter, a goal in the first 10 minutes, a goal in the last. Goals from Marshall Godo and Jordan Jones. They're the players that gave you the moments required to win that game. Yeah,
I think the first goal was created by Stevie Humphries, to be honest with you. He was very strong on the ball and took it up the left-hand side and knocked a super cross in. for Gordo and it was a really good finish. I mean, he just opened his body and hit it in the far corner, side-footed it in, and it was very cool, that. But one thing that, I'm not saying it riled us a bit, but Gary Caldwell made some comments about us being embarrassing the way we were going down. Now, he talked about one of our players. I think that was Stevie Humphries. But he had to go off. He was injured. You know, he was injured enough to have to be replaced with a substitution. So I understand how frustrating it is, and I hate seeing time wasted. I really do, and I don't like our players doing it. And I just don't. But it's something that's in the modern game. I'm 100% positive. If you were 1-0 up and there were 89 minutes on the clock, your players would be, wasting time. And I've seen it in game after game after game this season, and last night as well. When we played last night, Charlton were doing it, and it's what happens.
He had a point though, didn't he?
We did. Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't have a point. I mean, but it's part and parcel these days. I don't like it. That's the other thing I'm saying. I don't like it. But they call it game management. The yellow cards early in the season were there to stop it. But they've stopped issuing those yellow cards now. If you took your time taking a free kick or a throw in, or you went down unnecessarily, you were getting yellow cards. You were forced to go off the pitch for 30 seconds. But all that seems to have gone over this last couple of weeks. Last night there were incidences where people weren't getting booked. That Charlton players, they were, because we got back into the game, they were doing exactly what we were doing against you, and they were killing time. They were killing time, but the referee wasn't allowing it. And the same when we played you, he allowed it to happen. But I believe at the start of the season, that wasn't happening. They were clamping down on it. Get it out of the game, because I don't think anybody likes to see. I'm not saying cheating. Is it cheating? Would you say it were cheating?
Of course it's cheating.
Cheating. Go on then, we'll say it. Nobody likes to see cheating, do they?
There you go. Barry's warning to Sean Maloney. None of the time wasting that we saw back in October, please. But since that game, you mentioned it, Wigan are out of the relegation zone now after winning the 3 consecutive games. But the Latics did lose last time out against Charlton at home. A game that I don't know if you would have been expecting to win. You probably would have gone in with a bit of positivity. But what went wrong against the Addicts?
Well, I was expecting to win because Charlton hadn't won an away game this season, and they just took a bit of the last 2 games they got walloped by both Barnsley and Bolton. So I was actually, and I've spoken to a Charlton fan, and he was dreading coming up. But we made 2 changes. We've lost Stephen Sessegnon with injury, so he was missing, and then both Humphries and Godot, who we spoke about, were involved in the first goal down at your place, who've been electric the last 2 games, absolutely unplayable, found themselves on the bench for some inexplicable reason, and with Charlie Wyke up front, who I love Charlie Wyke. He's a war horse. He leads the line, but he's not a very mobile striker. And we were trying to play mobile football, and it just wasn't working. We weren't keeping possession. Charlton were picking the ball up. And the first time, we were 3-0 down. Alfie May, everybody knows what Alfie May does. He's kept Cheltenham in League One for the past 3 seasons single-handedly. That's how good he is. 2 great finishes. And then Corey Blackett-Taylor, another excellent player. He had a chance right on half-time, and we're 3-0 down. And it's like the game's beyond us. We hit the bar before they scored, though. Cam Lang had a free kick from outside the box, rattled off the crossbar. We also hit the bar in the second half as well. So it finished 3-2 to Charlton, but it could have gone either way, because they hit the post as well. So there were chances, and we scored on 88 minutes, 84 minutes, sorry, and then we scored on 90 minutes, and the referee added 6 minutes on. So you can imagine what that last 10 minutes were like. Yeah. It was brilliant, exciting. Like I said, Charlton were trying to eat the time away. We were, but it was good. But that's football, isn't it? That's what you want to see. You want to see exciting stuff happen on the pitch. And I got that last night. And so even though we were rubbish in the first half, we were rubbish for the first half of the second half, I come off that pitch buzzing. It was 3-2, and I'm looking forward to Saturday now.
Yeah, well, there we go. You sound confident. One player that you've mentioned already is Stevie Humphreys, as you call him. You mentioned him last time you were on the pod as well. He's now got 6 league goals for the club this season. Obviously, Charlie Wyke is back from suspension for this game. But I suppose, is Humphreys now the real danger man that Exeter should be looking at for Saturday?
Yeah, he's the guy in form. I think he's been involved in his last 6 games. He's been involved in a goal every single game, whether he scored it or assisted it. He's on fire. I mean, you saw when he was down at your place the strength he has on the ball. He's hard to knock off. He's very direct. He can shoot with either foot with the same amount of venom. He can pass. He can play players in. He's got good vision. He's definitely the guy in form. He's most Latics fans would say if we had to pick a player of the season at this point, it'd go to him. So I think Sean Maloney's got a bit of a quandary on Saturday. Does he rest Stevie Humphreys because we've got a league game on Tuesday as well, or does he keep him in and keep the form going? Because he was sub last night. He came on in the second half and scored. So he's scoring. He's really involved. He's our danger man. Opposition teams are frightened to death of him. They double up on him, but he's that strong. He bulldozes his way through both of them. He's like a rampaging Viking. He looks like a Viking. He's got his beard, his head shaved. He's full of tats, and he's always got thighs like tree trunks, and he's just so difficult to shake off the ball. And then as soon as he gets sight of those white posts, he's having a shot, and the thunderous shots as well. So yeah, he is the danger man, and I'm glad he's in our side every time we set to the field rather than in the opposition team.
Thought you were describing Erling Haaland there for a second.
Well, yeah, at lower league, Erling Haaland. There we go. Thanks for that. I'm going to use that comparison from now on.
Well, one player who scored nearly as many goals as Erling Haaland a few years ago when you gained promotion from League One is, of course, the man who scored 6 goals, just like Humphreys this season, Charlie Wyke, back from suspension. Of course, he missed the game last month and hasn't scored since his return, but I guess it's only a matter of time until he does.
Yeah, well, last night was his first game since his suspension, since he's come back, because he's not been in the squad for the past 2 weeks as well, or the past 2 games. I think the game down at St James's Park was the last of his suspension, and then the next 2 didn't even make the squad. So I don't know if he had some fitness issues because of his problem with his cardiac problem, and whether being out of the team for such a period takes its toll on him, and we have to be careful with him, obviously. But he is a goal scorer. He's a good leader of the line. Does he suit Sean Maloney's style of play? Well, that's the big thing, with Humphreys and Gordo together, and also Telawasga, we've got 3 forwards there who interchange quite a lot. They're moving about. They're very fluid. You don't know who's going to go through the middle or go left and right. With Charlie, you know where he's going to be. He's going to be through the middle, and that's it. He's not. Sometimes he drops a little bit into midfield to pick the ball up, but that's about it. So whether he is ideal for Sean Maloney's playing style or not, I'm not 100% sure about that. And this is the last season of his contract. I'd say he's probably not going to be with us next season.
Well, for regular listeners of this podcast, they will have heard something very similar from the Reading fan that we had on earlier this season regarding Andy Carroll. I guess it feels like quite a similar situation in that you've got a goal scorer, a proven goal scorer, somebody who scored at higher levels than this, and of course at this level as well in the case of Charlie Wyke, but just doesn't seem to really fit the system.
Yeah, well, that again, you pulled a good comparison out there, and that's it. Maloney wants fluidity throughout the team. He wants people to interchange and move, so keeping your defenders guessing who's going to come through the middle, etc. But with Charlie, it's not like that. I love him. I do. I love his endeavour, the way he plays for us. But I still don't think he's a good fit for us, if I'm being honest. Even though he's on 6 goals, I still don't think he's a good fit.
Let's talk a little bit more about the game on Saturday then. FA Cup tie, of course. So, if if we draw, it's a replay, which I'm not sure if anybody really wants. So, let's hope it's decided on the day. Of course, in our case, let's hope that City get the win. And I think they will do if the two sides play like they did back in October. 72% possession for Exeter, 29 shots. Surely you can't play the same way that you did last time you visited the park.
Oh, surely we can't. Surely we can't. No, we were at the end of a really bad patch, and it was so important for us to get something from that game by whatever means to turn our season back on track, and we did. So, despite the way we played, I thought we defended so resolutely. And you're thinking about some of the lads in that defence, so they're only kids, 20-year-old, and they were magnificent from the bodies on the line. But we need to be a little bit more offensive. We need to set the game to you a little bit more. So I think he might make a couple of changes to give some of our, I'll not say fringe players, but some of the guys who's not been in the team as regular as some of the others to get some minutes in the legs. But he'll not make many changes, just perhaps one or two. But I do think we'll be looking to win the game. We will be definitely looking to win the game. And if we're not going to win it, I think we'll be looking not to lose it. So don't be too surprised if, in fact, it is a draw. Because I think that's my feeling from this game. I think we're going to be having a replay up in Wigan. But Sean Mullen has already said the cup competitions are important for this club. He's won the cup. He knows what it means. So, he's going to go for it.
Yeah, not sure if he'll get as far as winning it this season. You might have to pull a bit of a miracle to do that. But you sound, I don't know, I can never judge how confident you really are. You sound positive, but you always caveat that with something that's not quite right. Are you confident for Saturday?
Yeah, well, first of all, I have to say I'm a Wigan Athletic supporter, so we're never over. We know who we are. We know, you know what I mean. I mean, top of the league and flying. Something happens to trip me up. Am I confident for Saturday? I'm confident that we can come away without losing. That's what I'm confident about. We can come away without losing. Listen, you were very good against us, and I held my hand up, and you were just a goal away from putting in a fabulous performance. And if you'd have scored, if you'd have equalised in the first half, you'd have gone on and won that. There's no two ways about it. So we've got to be on the top of our game. You'll be buoyant after Tuesday's match, because you put in a great performance against. I know Middlesbrough are a quality side. We played them twice last season. They battered us home and away. They are a quality side with really good players. So you put in a great performance against them. So you're going to be buoyant. It's going to be a really tough game. I am positive, but there is that caveat. So yeah, we're not going to. Oh no, I'm positive that we're not going to get beat.
So you reckon a draw?
Yes, that's what I'm going for, a draw. The draw that nobody wants.
Well, we'll love to see if it comes to fruition. Hopefully, there's a result on the day. I think that's what the fans will want, and let's hope it goes the way of Exeter. That's how we like things on this podcast.
Yeah, well, you probably feel you always won anyway, don't you?
Yeah, well, maybe so. Barry, thank you so much for joining me this week. And of course, head over to Progress with Unity podcast to hear my guest appearance with you as well, Barry. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Wow, what an episode. It might be my favourite so far. Viljami Sinisalo, who told me before we started recording that he listens to the pod whilst getting his weekly haircut. You can't help but love him. Lee Holmes, what a brilliant man. And Barry Worthington, both of those things combined. I've really enjoyed this week's show, and if you have too, then please do leave us a 5-star review on whichever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Or leave us a like if you're listening on socials or YouTube. Let us know what you want to hear more of via our social media channels, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening. Up the City.
He's been picked out. Socks down to his ankle. Picks out, stands